React 19 is finally stable and it brings lots of new cool features. One of them is form actions that will enable us to work with forms in a much easier way. Let's see form actions in action. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now let's demonstrate form actions. To be able to do that, we need to have a React 19 version. So go check in your package.json. Here in the dependencies, you should have React 19. In case you start your project using Vite and here it says React 18, like it was the case with me, you should install the newest version of React and React DOM with this line. I will put this line in the video description. So once you do that, you will have the newest React version. Okay, so now let's see our project. This is my contact form project I did a while ago. In case you missed those two videos, they will appear somewhere here. I have a contact form. When I try to submit an empty form, I get errors. And when I submit fill out the all fields and successfully submit the form, I get this success message. Okay, nice. So now let's start working on our code, and this is my form component. I did that with useState and function for submitting the form. Now I will rewrite this whole code using new form actions. Okay, let's get started. Now let me find my form. Here is my form, and I have on submit, I'm calling this submit form function. I will comment out this function and get rid of this prop. Instead of that, I will be using a good old action prop that's available on all forms. But have in mind, there is a difference between this React action prop and regular HTML action attribute that only sends HTTP requests. Okay, so now I will create a new function. I will be calling this function contact form action, for example, and then I will connect my form to this contact form action. Here I will get my form data object inside my new action, and now I will use this object to extract all of the values user entered. So I will create a constant, for example, first name, and it will be form data. I will use get method to get my first name. Now have in mind, this is the input field. We need to have name attribute on all of our inputs. This is what's important when extracting this. Okay, so I will copy this value here, and that's how I will get the first name of my user. Now I will copy this down a little bit, and then I have my next field is the last name. Now let's console log all of this to see what we get. So I will console log first name, last name, email, query, message, and consent. Okay, let's save all of that. Now let's test this out. Let's quickly fill in this form and see what we have in our console. If I hit consent and I submit my form, as you can see, I have my first name, last name, email, query, and my message. I have everything I need from my form with just this line of code. So you can see how using form actions can be very helpful. Okay, now of course that's not all we need to do. We need to also be able to display our error messages and work on form validation. So before we do that, I can get rid of useState and initial hooks and these two pieces of state. I'm not using useState anymore. I can get rid of the function for handling changes. This was a function for validation. I will keep this to copy it in my new form. I can get rid of the submit function, and for now I will comment this because we don't have the state. This will be causing errors. Okay, everything is fine. I don't have errors in my form. Okay, I commented out everything. Like I told you, I will use this. I will copy all of this until here. Okay, so now after I extract the values user entered, I will do some validation. This should be a const. I don't know why I put let. Okay, so here I just need to remove the values. That was my state before. I will quickly select all with Control D and remove it. Okay, so I hope you have idea what I'm doing. I have an empty object and then I'm checking if my first name is empty. I'm putting a field inside my object with the key first name, and the value of that field is this field is required, as well for the last name message. Then for the email, I also do the check if it is a valid email, and then I check if I have the consent, if my checkbox is checked, and if some of the query is selected one of my two radio buttons. Okay, so now if I do have errors in my fields, this form errors object will be filling with those errors. Now I will check if this object is empty. How can I do that? I will use object.keys that will convert my form errors object into an array, and then I can check the length of that array. If that length is greater than 0, that will mean that I do have errors in my form. In that case, I will return an object with form errors key that will be my form errors object. But since the name is the same, I can shorten this and only put form errors. Okay, and if it is, I don't have any errors, I will go into the form submission. I hope that, let me find, this is on success prop that I get from my app component. And this is how I submit successfully my form. I will be calling on success function, to what I will pass the whole object with all of the entered fields. Okay, and then after that, if I pass this check, if I don't have errors, I will return form errors object with the value null. Okay, let's save this and test it out. Okay, if I successfully fill in the form, here is my success message. That's great, that's working, but if I'm not successful, nothing is happening because I still haven't done the logic for that. So that's our next task. To be able to display all of the errors again, we are gonna use a brand new hook called useActionState, and first, of course, like all of the hooks, it must be imported. useActionState, here it is. We are importing this hook from React, and we are gonna execute it under our contact form action, but of course before we return our JSX. And it's a very similar syntax like useState. We will be calling useActionState to which we will be passing first our action, and then I will pass our initial state, which is my form errors object, and it's initially null. Okay, and now here I will have form state and form action, and to my form inside my action prop here I will pass form action for my state. Okay, and now I can use this form state to check if I have errors and to display those errors. Okay, so here where I have I can uncomment this, and instead of errors I have a form state dot form errors. This is our the name of our object, and then first name. I can check, but just in case, because this is initially null, this will give me an error, so I need to check if form errors exist. With this question mark, I will check if it is not undefined. Okay, and then I am checking if I have first name error, I'm putting the class name of errors, otherwise I'm don't putting any class name. And the same here, I will uncomment this, and I will be checking, of course, if this is the case. If that's the case, this here inside my text, I will be displaying this field from my object. Okay, and now I will do this for each and every input in my form. I will fast forward. Okay, now for all of my inputs, I changed this. I'm here, of course, I should be checking if the consent is not undefined. And now for all of my fields, I'm using this new form state to check if there are any errors, and then I conditionally display those errors, and as well as the classes here. Okay, so now let's save this and test it out in my form. So now if I try to submit my empty form, I should be having errors. Whoops. My app completely broke. Let me check my console and see what's going on. Of course, we have some errors. Form data.get is not a function. Let me check. Form data. Okay, so this is the problem here. Of course, as you saw, this worked before, but it's not working anymore. I should have, this should be my second argument, this form data object, and as a first argument, I should have a previous state. I'm not gonna use this previous state anywhere, but since I'm using use action state hook, it has to be this way. My form data object should be my second argument. Okay, let's save now, and let's test it now. Let's try to submit an empty form. Now, as you can see, I have error messages, as you can see here, and I have conditional classes rendered. Okay, let's try to fill out some of the fields. Okay, now you can see the problem. Here I don't have errors anymore, but my values are gone. And this is the case with using form actions. Whenever you submit the form is automatically resetted, which can be a cool feature to have. We don't have to clear the form ourselves, but in those cases, like you saw earlier, it's not very good user experience. User has to type again the fields that were correct. Okay, in fact, I can get rid of this reset form function I used earlier. Okay. And in fact, I should get rid of this function. I'm not using that function anymore. I have the validation inside my action function. Okay, so in order to prevent that from happening, I should here when I have form errors, as a second field inside my object, I can have entered values, which will be an object with all of the fields that user entered. And of course, I will use the same key and value name, so I will shorten this. So first name, last name, email, then I have query, then I have a message, and finally I have a consent. Okay, so now I have this object, and to all of my input fields, I will uncomment this, and instead of the value prop, I will be using new default value prop. And here that will be form state that entered values. Of course, if those values are not undefined, then I will be accessing the first name. And I can get rid of this onChange prop. We are not handling changes anymore. And I will copy this for all of my fields. Now with the query type, the situation is a little bit different because it's a radio button. I will paste this here, but I need to do some changes. Here I have the value for my first button, and here instead of default value, I will be putting default checked if my form state enter values that of course query. This will be checked if that's equals to general query, like that. And for my next copy this, here it will be checked if the value is equals to support request. Okay. For the checkbox, again, this should be default checked. If of course this should be consent. Okay, let me save this. With that, I believe we are good to go. So let's test this out. Let me refresh the page, try to submit an empty form. I have errors. If I enter first and the last name, if I submit now, as you can see, my errors are gone, but my fields are okay. Let's try to, as you can see now, it remembered my email and my query type. And if I put message and I check this checkbox, I submit the form, I get my form submitted. Okay guys, and now our form is working as before. As you can see, I can fill all the fields, my validation is working, and when I submit my form, I get my success message. And all we did is we completely changed the way we are handling submission of the form. I think a nice improvement we get with React 19. And with that, I want to thank you for watching today's video. I hope you get some value out of it. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I wish you a great day. Goodbye and lots of love.